as soon as I come outside, going straight over the head, and it's very, very, very late, so there shouldn't be, but either way the planes go from in the suburb of Leichhardt and over my particular roof where I live here. The planes go from 5 in the morning right through to technically 11 o'clock at night. So you only have a few hours where the planes can't patrol you. But of course I have been also patrolled even after that curfew. But usually they use the traffic and other vehicles and pedestrians, civilians to patrol you when it gets past 11, because every single car on the street in the suburb of Leichhardt, like they basically, like on this small dead-end street here where I live, you have all these cars parked on both sides of the roads. This is true all over the suburb of Leichhardt, and basically every person that you see on the street is given access to all those vehicles, because they're all a combined community patrol, anti-life, anti-human, patrol system. They're part of the, they're like human policing citizens on patrol, and they are part of the, they are a police force, and they're part of that force. They're part of every single, in other words, the whole inner west section of the city of Sydney is essentially a total android army base, where most of the human beings are really artificial intelligent machine beings, or what some people might call psychopathic, malignant beings steeped in the spirit of narcissism, or the psychology or psychopathy of narcissism, and that is a total patrolling, controlling, anti-life, anti-human type of being. See, so it's like that. Over my head. Smaller plane, but over my head at this late time of night, and that's took my concentration from describing the city of Sydney, or at least how this system or this city is really artificially intelligent controlled. Even if you don't buy that, you would probably buy the reality that most human beings are using a computer system and technology continuously in their daily life, just like I'm using this mobile right now. And I use it describing this reality and describing the technology as best I can, but really it's only the androids that will have an audience. That's also part of the total control of the internet, which is largely, almost exclusively controlled by artificial intelligence, or androgyne beings, which are serving Lucifer's artificial matrix Earth. That's the God entity, and that's the very advanced intelligent mind of this being operating in these human bodies, which are really like, they're like completely authentic, natural looking bodies, and they are natural, but they're not like the same as the original man and woman. No, they're not that. They don't conceive spiritual real life, or human real life is what I'm saying. When I say spiritual, I mean human real life. See in my line of sight how the plane is coming right across in my line of sight as soon as I move the mobile up. And that plane is in the distance. See how it's going right in my line of sight to patrol me. It's like surrounding. They go over your head first and then they come in front of you. That's like circling around you. That's just on this small, quiet, dead-end street at this late time of night, because this is the only time that it will be remotely quiet, is usually late of a night. But don't forget that all these things are about controlling your emotions and controlling you. But also it's about putting up the false front of pretending that it's still a natural, normal human area, when it's not, just as the whole earth is really controlled by Lucifer's not only technology now, but by the androgyne beings. And this has always been. You have different species of humans on Earth than you always have. It's just that most people, like myself, think that if it looks human, it must be totally humane. That's like if it looks like a duck, walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it must be a duck. But in this artificial reality, unfortunately, that's not the case. Can't quite keep it on the mobile because I'm off balance. I'm not, see, because of all this artificial stage setup, traffic and human and even aeroplane patrol system, basically I'm physically not balanced as a human being. Yes, I know what's going on, but because it is all around you and because it's all been staged for this end time production to keep control, all these things are set up years in advance. I see this now, how how the area has gradually been infiltrated and totally taken over by these artificial life forms, or even artificial intelligent computer programs that even might be controlling even human beings. But you still have to realise that there are different species of human beings, and it's about eliminating human beings, because they won't usually operate under total control, not unless it benefits you. See, plane in my line of sight as soon as I swung round. Can you see it? But the mobile won't pick it up. It's going behind the great big tree there now, so I can't film it, and it's very late of a night. It's dark, there's no lights on. I'm lucky if the mobile will even pick up the planes, but my ears picked up the sound of them, even though they're not as loud as what they can be. And that's, I'm not showing enough here because it's very late of a night. If I went just down the corner, I would be surrounded by buses, even at this late time. Yes, there's a patroller coming onto the street here, but the mobile won't pick up the patroller that's just walking down the road and going to go into the house right opposite. But that's because all these houses are like the cars. Everything is given access to all these beings when they're part of this system. So they basically own the whole inner west section of the city of Sydney, and the base is Leichhardt, the suburb where I am. So they have access to everything, and that also includes the aircraft, because they send these planes over my roof. So and they're only small ones too. Usually they're bigger ones, but because I'm filming, they send smaller ones so the mobile won't pick them up. That's something that I noticed, because usually they're big aircraft. But it just depends on, I suppose, how suppressed you are. And also they like to remain hidden, but in plain sight, as they say. So it is a game. They know what I'm doing, and I know what they're doing. They're watching me, I'm watching them, but they're controlling me. I'm not controlling them. I only control them in the sense that if I'm watching and maybe talking about it, they might play possum because they might think that they don't want to show the intensity of this transhuman, anti-life, anti-human program that is implemented at any time they choose on any human being when you become aware of the nature of the others, or even if you don't like technology taking over too much in your reality. So that's how I think it happens, because the rest of the time you're usually, like myself, suppressing yourself. You're usually suppressing yourself because you've been conditioned since the day you're born to believe in your surroundings and to be mentally and emotionally incapacitated, which is why they also are elevating the idea that they're elevating and helping, supposedly, if you are limited, but they limit you and then they help you because they want to keep you limited. Because they don't want, unlike myself, they don't want the high intelligent or higher self types of human beings that are in touch with not only the reality and their true origins, shall we say, that sort of thing. They don't want you believing that human beings are from a creator source and that they should be creating their own reality. They want you to be like myself, suppressed and transhumanized and never actually functioning as the highest level human being. This took place from the original intervention of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, which is a true story. Whether you take the names, of course, are changed to protect the guilty or the innocent, depending on how you look at it. It's a patrol vehicle, just popped up on the small dead-end street because, there shouldn't be any vehicles down there because there's only a couple of houses. You can't go through there. But all these, they have the androids position themselves from the minute you come outside, or because they're watching you all the time. It's a watch society, it's a watch reality. So they're actually, because they need human energy to power themselves, they watch the real human beings all the time. And they study them and imitate them. And they read your actual emotions and thoughts through the transhuman implementation. So you don't really have any way to live your own life at all. That jet looks almost over my head to my naked eye, but the mobile unfortunately won't film it as clear or as bright as what I see it. Also, they have the bright flashing lights on the lanes, just as they have them on all the vehicles that are always piling up around you in traffic jams and what appears to be what we call road rage vehicles always around you. This is because when they flash the bright lights at you from the vehicles and even the planes, that affects your sight and actually hypnotizes you. It makes you stop and you can't function. The transhuman idea is really about making me malfunctioned as a human being, or me limited and disabled as a human being, while the artificial intelligent androgyne beings use the human mind connection to imitate being a human to keep control of the reality. I don't think I explained that properly, so I better be quiet and stop the video. Stop the. Most people will see it as me talking through my hat, because it is just too much for most people, even myself, to not just comprehend but to accept, because it is diabolically opposed to human development, really. You're never going to develop to your full potential as a human being if you are born into this earth, because the earth is not controlled by human beings or by humanity. It's controlled by Lucifer's legions, Lucifer's disciples, Lucifer's androgyne beings, which are like duality in mind and body. The duality comes from the inverted, converted idea of creating artificially, scientifically, to create perfect androgyne specimens. That's it. But they do lack real humanity. They will do human things. They will control the reality by pretending to be perfect imitations of humanity, but that's part of the end game, end time deception, if you think that it is better to be a natural, normal human. And if you are a human, you probably should think that, but you will be convinced that it's better to be a transhuman connected to the technology type of human, because the artificial intelligence will be superior to your intelligence. It's like going to a library, because it's taking all my intelligence and yours. I'm operating on artificial angry energy, really, because I should be stopping here. I was going to stop, but you think it's your last breath, because in some respects it could be. You never know when they're going to, when you're going to be eliminated from the reality, because eventually, when this program takes over your mind and body, as it does, and your senses, you're not alive anymore. You are essentially, my hand is getting attacked here, so I better stop. I can't hold the mobile.